Now your temple is ready. Now you start living and working in your room as in a sacred place. The external circumstances of your life are irrelevant for this. This exercise transfigures even a prison cell. Thereby you create on earth the same conditions as prevail in heaven. You will be told of places where there are many gods. What does a sight of the gods mean? Does it not signify that this is a place with special conditions for the astral? Let us employ more imagination. Let us be like children. Let us play. We lived and worked in a temple. We playfully, tentatively stick to the rules that apply there and try out whether they enable us to lead a better life. When you take a meal, imagine you are sitting at the table in the refectory together with your teacher and your spiritual brothers and sisters. When you go for a walk, you are strolling in the cloister of the monastery. In this way, your fantasy world becomes a spiritual reality. Your soul actually lives in it like a child in the world of its fairy tales or its books. You are living in a virtual, in your own spiritual world. This is like those computer games where you build a virtual personality that lives in a virtual world. The big difference, however, is you make your dream come true in earthly existence. Is not that pure imagination? No, not at all. You are establishing a spiritual reality that is as effective as a material one. You create a sacred, solemn atmosphere around you. This is not an illusion. This is a reality. There can be no doubt. Such a spiritual environment is not only real, it is even curative. First for yourself, and then for all the other people who enter this wonderful world. You do not merely dream, you actually create a world of your own. You are dwelling in an area of dull, multi-story buildings. When you are living in the spiritual world of an ashram in the Himalayas, you find the mountains before your inner eyes. Then it does not matter what the physical world looks like outside your window. This transfiguration of your surroundings is of course easier to achieve if you have a room available that is reserved for meditation and spiritual work only, which is largely isolated from worldly affairs. That means which is as pure as possible. A Lord's corner where you set up a small altar with a candle and portraits of Mahatma M., your teacher, and the saint of the day. In principle, however, you can transform any worldly room into a sacred place by filling it with a sacred spirit. If only the power of your spirit is strong enough to overcome all opposing influences. I find it difficult to live in two places, one physical and one spiritual, at the same time. I am not that far advanced yet. Well, in order to facilitate the understanding, let us express the process in scientific language as well. You build up the interior temple by attaching the material plane to the higher world. We had already said, since heaven is not far away, but present everywhere, any place on earth can be attached to any place in the subtle world. You attach your earthly dwelling to the heaven of which you dream, to the sanctuary that already exists in the spiritual world. Every earthly place is connected to some higher or lower subtle sphere anyway. Then you better choose yourself to which one you attach yourself. What does attachment mean specifically and practically? You connect, not physically, but of course in spirit. The same atmosphere, the same spirit prevails as above, so below. The same conditions, laws, customs, and traditions as in heaven also apply with you on earth. Shambhala is the indispensable site where the spiritual world unites with the material one. But to work there where the spirit has descended into matter, the conditions of both planes must be met. Then the connection of all worlds is established. Then the earth is close to heaven, then heaven is open. Then the heavenly state embraces earthly life as well. Then your location is the lowest, the physical level of a unitary world pyramid, the subtle level of which is the temple in the higher world. Your house is a part, an embodiment, a branch of the supermundane sanctuary on earth. We remember, mostly the pyramid of the worlds looks like this. The higher spheres are separated from the material world. Through the attachment, you pierce, at least at one point, the dark layer about the earth that separates us from heaven. You establish a living connection to the top. You are now under the ray of the supermundane sanctuary, like under a cone of light. Your home is connected to heaven by a protected channel that breaks through the lower subtle spheres around the earth. This is similar to the channel through which your soul descended to the material level when you were born. The attachment enables the higher world to break through into material life. If such a connection exists, higher beings can come to your aid, work together with you, or act through you down here. The boundary between the material and the subtle world melts away and finally vanishes completely. Heaven is, so to speak, in the next room. Your homeland is next door, and so are your soulmates, but not behind a wall, but beyond a kind of veil made of subtle matter of the highest vibration. You may penetrate it at any time, cross the border, and, as when falling asleep and at death, deliberately switch over to the other world. Instead of flying to the temple, you shorten the distance. It is now within you, around you, next to, behind, or above you. You draw near to the higher world by spiritualizing yourself. As soon as the vibration of your being sinks, you fall back into the purely material state and move away from heaven again. Indeed, it is needful in everything to attach oneself to the higher world. Without such attachment, the path will be a long one. Amid the densest of earthly condition, it is still possible to direct oneself toward the higher world, and this world of beauty will be close by. In the earthly body, the spirit already learns to attach himself to the higher world, as if returning into its own wondrous native realm. Man feels an attraction even to his earthly native land, which is transitory. So much the greater is his attraction to the eternal fatherland. You are never alone. Your supermundane brothers and sisters are watching you. You sense their presence and can communicate with them. Every co-worker of the Brotherhood comes into close contact with the subtle world. The abode of the hierarchy in the Himalayas is in constant communication with the abodes in the subtle world. Live this idea as concretely as possible. Be aware of their proximity. That means, for example, if heaven is next door, you must not disturb the important sacred doings that are going on there, and should behave as is befitting in such a high presence. If an important task is being performed near us, we should not quarrel or make noise